immune systems. Now there's a couple of things. Next week we're going to talk about medication elimination. Now, I'm not anti-drug. I'm just anti-stupid. Okay? So if there's a better way to help you, great. I had to change this talk on immune systems because last week something radically happened, something that you might not be aware of. So we're going to go through, I'm going to show you how it works, explain the best way that your immune system can work and generate disease, or generate immune system responses to reverse disease, but also some of the crazy stuff that you're being exposed to that just doesn't make sense. First, let's learn how it works. Now, building it by 300%. Now this guy, Dr. Ron Perot, PhD, chiropractic care can strengthen your immune system 300%. Now I see this study and I think, hey, cool, I'm a chiropractor. But how does it work? Okay, would you like to know how your immune system gets built up 300%? Yeah, well, let's look how it works. So first off, this is normal. Now the nervous system, and this is what every doctor is supposed to know, it controls and coordinates every function of the body. Does that mean it controls digestion? Immune system? Yeah. Cardiovascular system? Okay, it controls everything. Does it control your body's ability to fight cancer? It does. It does. Everything. So if you have a normal functioning immune system, and in fact, the nervous system is the only system in the entire body completely encased in bone. It's that important, all the way down. So if you have a nervous system that's messed up like this, you're probably going to have altered function. Does that make sense? Yes or yes? Okay, good. It does to me too. Now, so when we look at this, this is a loss of curve degeneration, but that's an actual cadaver. And you can see there's a tremendous amount of pressure there. Now, this is where what we know versus science. Now in the medical world, now this is a lot of flat earth thinking in this world. They're going to say, well, we know that 97% of all headaches come from the neck. We know that. Why? Because we know that the pain is there. We know that if we adjust the neck, the pain goes away and headaches go away. And so we can understand that 97% of headaches come from the neck, but we can't measure that nerve. Now, do you see that spinal cord in the middle there is compressed? Raise your hand if you can see that. Okay, good. Okay. We can't measure how the nerve is. We can't measure the nerve supply. We can't measure if it's increased or decreased. But we can measure that there's a decrease in function. So there's a lot of stuff we do know, and there's a lot of stuff we don't. Like this here, we know that the immune system is composed of a bunch of different things. Now my son hates these slides because there's too much words. Okay, and I totally agree. It's impossible to see. But just know that the skin, the first line of defense. Now not only is the skin really neat, it's also porous. Anything you put on the skin gets into the blood. Now just 20 years ago, they used to say, oh no, the skin's protective, it protects you. No, the skin is porous. If you put mineral oil on it, that's mineral oil getting into your body. If you put toxic chemicals on there, toxic chemicals get in your blood. That's why they came up with, hey man, if it's porous, let's do drugs. Let's do patches. Okay? And if you want a really good movie, see Thank You for Smoking. You'll see what patches can do. You got to see the movie Thank You for Smoking. It's a good one. Okay, gastric acid. This means that acid inside of your stomach protects you from outside influences. So if you're eating E. coli laced corn, I'm sorry, that's genetically modified corn. Okay, E. coli is a bacteria that comes out of your colon. Okay, and they use that bacteria to genetically modify the corn. So if you're eating genetically modified corn, you're eating some E. coli. So let's say you're eating E. coli corn. You want that acid inside of your stomach really powerful to break it down. Okay? So now let's say saliva and tears. Fantastic. You've got amylase, you've got enzymes. At tears, you've got a gland on the outside of the eye that actually secretes fluid across the eye that has antibiotic properties, antifungal properties. Cool design. Intestinal bacteria, vital for your immune system. In fact, you have 70 trillion cells. You have 4 times that amount of bacteria. You're a bacteria-filled, bacteria-covered being. And without this bacteria, you die. And in fact, we see that. So you have a harmonious relationship with the bacteria. Okay, and I'll show you how to live with one. Mucus, phenomenal. You want something that'll wall off a pathogen, it's there. But now, let's look at stupid world, okay? Stupid world will say, avoid the sun, put creams on the skin that are toxic. If worse, if you have an upset stomach, what do they prescribe? Antacid. Okay. Now, not only are antacids foolish, but it weakens your body's ability to break down nutrients. It also increases pathogens. Now, let's say you get an illness. What do they prescribe? Antibiotic, which is a fungus. Okay, poisonous fungus to kill the intestinal bacteria. Now, I'm okay if it's scientific, but if it's not scientific, let's change. Okay, does that make sense? So let's look at the normal system, see how it works, see stupid stuff, and then we see how to make it work better. Okay? So now you've got a tremendous system. This immune system is all over the place. It's everywhere. And it's there, and it's thousands and thousands of years old. If you've got Northern European heritage, your relatives survived the Black Plague. Way to go. Okay? All around the world. And again, the nervous system controls that function of every system. Now, here's the body's first response. Let's look at how the system works. The first thing that you develop if you get an infection, you develop a what?
Fever.
A fever, yeah, because viruses and bacteria die at a higher temperature. Also, fever, for every 1 degree increase, the white cells double in speed. So if you got 104 temperature, you're talking 64 times faster that white cell gets, and the white cells are the immune system response cells to get and fight an infection. So you want that to work. So anybody that prescribes an antifebrile, would that be scientific or unscientific? I know, that's why I made this. This is so cool. This is the key. Okay? So anything you do, and you'll see, optimal health has no symptoms. Death, no symptoms. So we're not talking symptoms. Okay, symptoms are good. Like if I got a fever, if I'm exposed, like let's say I decide to go swimming in the Ganges, I'm probably going to get exposed to bacteria that I've never, been exposed to. So I'm probably going to get some infection. My body's going to develop a fever. So that's a good thing. So anything you do to help your body is going to be good. Anything you do to harm your body is going to move you closer to death. Okay, so it's real simple. Now here, increased mucus production, fantastic. And that kills the invader. It also eliminating the dead bodies. Now, have you ever gotten a cold? Yeah. Do you feel full of energy and vibrant, or you feel wiped out? That's because the immune system is metabolically expensive. It costs a lot of energy. Also, if you're sore, that's because your body's going in there and it's breaking up and destroying the virus, fungus, or bacteria. So that soreness is actually the dead bodies of the virus, fungus, or bacteria that your body already killed. So what happens is you got to eliminate it. This is why coughing, diarrhea, sneezing, those are all normal responses. So now let's think a dumb world. Dumb world would reduce a fever. Why? That's crazy. That's taking out your first line of defense. Really dumb would be giving you something to reduce histamines. That's crazy. And when we talked about the cure for the common cold, we talked about absolutely ignorant methods. This gal here, this is stage 4 breast cancer. Now, heat is redness. Do you think that area on her chest, which is a stage 4 breast cancer that's metastasized to the chest wall and lungs, do you think that she's going to develop a fever? Yeah, absolutely. This is a really smart gal. Head of orthopedic surgery at San Francisco Memorial. Now, she developed stage 4 breast cancer. There's no stage 5, by the way, stage 4. Okay, so her lymph nodes swelled up like walnuts. And her surgeon buddy said, please, let's remove those. She said, remove them. Are you nuts? They're part of my immune system. I need my immune system now. And of course, last year, guess what news flashed across the oncology network? No longer is it recommended to remove lymph nodes. I know. Can you do a homework? Oh, 40 years we made a mistake. We took them out. I don't know. We didn't know. Okay, this thing here. So she cured herself, allowing her body to go through this. And if you actually look at her, I saw her speak last year, brilliant gal. She developed about 106 fever, and it stayed there for about 3-4 days. She developed vomiting and diarrhea. Why? Because she's eliminating that tissue. And now, this was about 15 years ago, she's healthy, 7 years old. So your body has a system set up to identify pathogens or problems and destroy them. What you're looking at here, it might not seem like an unfair matchup, but that's a cancer cell and that's an immune system cell. It's called an NK, a killer cell, natural killer cell. Isn't it cool to know that you've got killer cells? Okay, they're there. Now what's a trip is you might hear about what's oral grade, hydrogen peroxide, okay? A lot of people use hydrogen peroxide, they'll inject it, okay, and it helps fight cancer. This little baby here secretes hydrogen peroxide and it destroys cancer cells. Did you know that? I know, you're really cool. Because when you start finding this out, this is actually attaching to a cancer cell, killing a cancer cell, and leaving the cancer cell in its matrix. And that's how your body fights. You fight 10,000 cancer cells every day. You're a machine like this. Now, this was a theory. Kind of like the theory that the sun revolves around the earth. Okay? We know that's wrong. Kind of like the theory that the world was flat. Well, here's an idea that Theobald Smith came up with. It's the germ theory. It's that germs cause disease. Now, he was actually a brilliant doctor at the turn of the century, and he developed a formula. Now, this is what the medical world is still thinking about. Is that first off, the severity of a disease is a couple of factors. It has to do with the number of pathogens, and a pathogen is a virus, fungus, or bacteria. How easy those pathogens can get into your body, so the opening size, how strong the pathogens are. So if you get, say, a little tiny E. coli bacteria versus Ebola bacteria, okay, there's a big difference there. I mean, Ebola can pretty much kill you very, very quickly if you don't have a good immune system. And E. coli, you get sick a little bit and then recover. Okay, so everything goes over the resistance of host. So everything depends on your immune system. Okay, can you see this? Severity of the disease absolutely depends on the host, on the immune system. So now this, and I know I'm going slow here, but you got to understand this. The disease, the severity of a disease depends on the resistance of host. So anything you do to your body to increase your immune system or help your cells increases your resistance to disease. Okay, does that make sense? And that helps the immune system. This helps the natural killer cells. It helps your body producing the antibodies. It helps your body resist disease, and also helps your body rebuild. Okay? Now, let's look at crazy stuff. We've got mania. Okay, virus mania. Now, I love this. This another brilliant MD, which you know, there are some really good ones. There's some really, really good smart MDs, and then there are the ones that pass out antibiotics for, you know, sinus cold. Okay, those aren't the good ones. Okay, this guy, to err is human, to preserve an error is diabolic. Okay, so now, do viruses cause disease? No. A weakened immune system causes disease. Is there influenza virus in this group right now? Of course there is. Did you know that there's Pseudomonas aeruginosa on my skin? I know. I can cause gangrene. All I got to, in fact, if you're a patient, I'm going to cut off blood supply and nerve supply to my arm. It'll take a few weeks, okay, but I'm going to develop gangrene. No one wants to wait around? Okay, good. Okay, so what I mean is, in order for me to develop or to allow the pathogen to grow rapidly, I have to compromise my immune system. Okay? You can't infect a healthy person. You can't catch a cold. You have to earn it. Okay? So we have to look at this. Fear is what's being... Have you heard about pertussis? Whooping cough. Worst epidemic in 50 years. If you know anybody that's going to school, they're saying, you've got to get shot before you go to school. You've got to get shot. Okay, you've got to get the shot. Okay, otherwise they won't let you in school. Okay, not only is that a lie, there's 3 exemptions inside of California, but it's illegal to refuse school if you refuse the lie. So what I want to do is just isolate one, because this is, remember, to err is human, to preserve the error is diabolic. Okay, now we got the error that people are saying you've got to get the shot before you get to school. Okay, so let's look at this. Misleading and inaccurate. Now, the California health officials, the worst outbreak in 50 years. 1,500 people got it. Sounds scary, doesn't it? Okay, but then when we look at it, this was from last year. Now, the CDC publishes an MMR, a morbidity